What the fuck is up? Antonio Suave. We have another episode of Reviews Under Fire. In the past few months, I've had, lots of people send me music. I've gotten some on my own. And so, I just want to give my opinion. I appreciate the people that send me stuff that, obviously, I guess want to hear my opinion. I mean, I don't know how that works, but that's what it's all about. I'm a very opinionated when it comes to music, so please, like I said before, don't get butthurt if I say something. I mean, because even like some of the best ones still have a small something I may have to say about it, and that's just my fucking opinion. Yeah. All right, first up is Propagahndi. I don't know if you know Propagahndi. They've been around forever, since like the 80s. They were like skate punk. And then they kind of turned into punk, metal, political stuff, and that's kind of still where they're at. It's just, they've aged. I mean, obviously they've been around forever. New album is called Victory Lap. It is on Epitaph. And this was a pretty solid record, especially the dude's voice as he ages. Like, it's a really cool, clean voice. I like it. Just at times, the album sometimes can get repetitive and a little bit boring, but ultimately it was good. For me, the best tracks were the title track, Victory Lap, When All Your Fears Collide, and Letters to a Young Anus. Yeah, so, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever heard Millencolin, or even like Aged, Bad Religion, a little bit similar. Not too far off, but yeah, there you go. All right, the next one is Arch Enemy. The album is Will to Power. Arch Enemy is kind of like melodic death metal. They've been around a long time. They're kind of a super group in metal, and they've been that way since the beginning. They're now on their third singer, which is formerly from The Agonist, I believe. I can't think of her name. Her name is Alyssa something White Glues. Something like that. Anyways, if I didn't say it, was Century Media Records. This is super polished, top of the line, death metal. It's really clean. Everything's precise. If you don't know about them, they have former members of Carnage and Carcass. Especially, I think his name is Michael Amat or whatever. He's from Carcass, and this dude is like on guitar he's a beast. On the new singer, she's not my favorite because it's a lot more accessible. And if you know me in metal, I like it really aggressive and dirty. But it is still death metal. But I can understand. They're trying to build a bigger audience. I really like the second singer. I think her name was like Angela Gassa or whatever, just because she was just brutal. But all in all, it is a very good record. This is the second album, though, with the newest singer, by the way. For me, the best tracks on the album are Blood in the Water, The Eagle Flies Alone, and Reason to Believe. So yeah, if you like melodic death metal, it's pretty good. All right, next up is Trak Mynds. They're out of Fort Worth, Texas, on Cemetery Records. This album, it's good. It is not bad. When it comes to hip hop, it's really dark. Sometimes it is a bit monotone, but production on it was very well. I really like it. I've seen them a couple times live at this point. And they got some weird, I don't know what it is, Prophet Jawa something happening on stage with robes. It's pretty cool. Man, I don't know if they're Mexican. It doesn't really matter, but it reminds me at times of like Latin hip hop, like Latin gangster hip hop. It kind of has that feel. Which, all in all, it's a good fucking album. That's the name of the album, is Trak Mynds as well. I don't know if I said that. The best tracks to me were Down for Whatever, Forgotten, and You Can't Hide. So, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they perform a lot, so you might want to check them out. All right, next up is the White Noize. The album is The Kids You Used to Know. It's on White Noize Productions. These dudes are out of Houston. Man, I'm gonna be honest. The first time I listened to this album, I really couldn't get into it. You know, I'm being real. But, you know, obviously where I, you know, work, I'm on the road all day. And so I get to listen to a lot. So sometimes you just have to be in a different place to feel certain music. And, you know, the last time I listened to it, I really got into it. And, you know, this one thing about this album is, you know, a lot of people today tend to stick to the same tone on albums, and this kind of takes you to different feels, you know, throughout. And I really dig that. And ultimately, it's kind of like a cruising album. And like to me, like just so you can relate, what I call a cruising album is something like Bob Marley or Sublime. But granted, this is hip hop, and it is like, I'm gonna call it immature, and that doesn't mean a bad thing because I totally get into a lot of immature stuff. It's just, you know, if you're always talking about partying, getting high, you know, getting drinking and stuff, that's, you know, I'm going to call it immature, but I dig it. You know, compared to dealing with real world issues, that would be what I would say mature. But it's a good album. It's something, you know, if you're just rolling, getting high to. That's what I'm going to say. That's what it is. It does suffer a bit to me from like production. Sometimes things are real muffled sounding. And, you know, I'm going to say this. My own vehicle is probably not the best sound system, but my truck for work is top notch. It is so badass. And that's so I really get to hear a lot of stuff and how it sounds and compare it to other stuff. With that being said, you know, granted, I don't, you know, talk about singles, but I did hear the D-Rock single, and man, it was awesome. The production on that was great. So I'm looking forward to that. But on this album, for me, the best tracks were Made Me This Way. You got to ash it before you pass it. That was a badass song. And In the Building. So if you're looking to cruise around, get inebriated and such, this is your album. Okay, next up is, I love saying this, the name of the band is Batushka. All right, Batushka. The album is Liturgia. Sorry if I'm screwing that up. This is Polish black metal. All right, it's on Witching Hour Productions. Man, you know, a lot of people that are into black metal, they don't like, you know, experimental and different things. And this is an excellent album. This is kind of outside the norm. It does have, you know, the vocals that sometimes are like lost in the music, and I think they do that because they're typically trying to make music, the vocals, like another instrument almost. There's like all these like monk chanting things happening throughout the different songs. Man, I was really blown away, you know. But you know, and then the singing style, it's more slow to mid pace, so it's not like straight blast beats the whole time. But when the guy screams, if you're familiar with like Anal Nathrak, you know, it's kind of like that. Really, I don't want to say evil, but it's scary at times. But man, this is an awesome album, and if you can get outside the norm of true cult black metal, then this is a damn good album. Now, it's not in English, it's all Polish, and the top tracks are, that's the thing, I'm assuming this means song, right? But everything is named this. So, Yektinia 1, Yektinia 3, and Yektinia 7 are like, for me, like the best songs on the album. It's really good. If you're into extreme music, you should probably check it out. Alright, next up is Archspire. The album is Relentless Mutation. It is on Season of Mist. This is technical death metal, and it's not as like aggressive, I think, as most, but it's awesome. And it kind of musically, it reminds you of like if you ever got into old school Cynic. It's a little bit like that, little jazzy influence that, you know, tinged here and there. But they're death metal singer. Okay, this is death metal singer, but he's a Midwest chopper. And when I say that, I mean, you have to hear it. This dude, it's like he's rapping with death metal vocals, and it's so good. It blew me away. I was like, the first time I heard it, I had to like play the first song over again. And, you know, he does that through every song. But yeah, that's the thing that stands out. It's almost like he's rapping, and I wish I knew what he was saying. But it's in English. I mean, you can find the lyrics. But yeah, he's like, going really fast, chopper rap style, death metal. If you can hear that in your head right now, I don't know. Dope ass album cover, by the way, too. It's pretty cool. Weird thing. You'll see it here, I'm sure. Best songs: Involuntary Doppelganger, Remote Tumor Seeker, and the title track Relentless Mutation. Fucking dope, technical death metal. You'll enjoy it. Alright, next up is Prophets of Rage. This is on Sony Music, and I really don't know what to say about this album. I mean, I don't know if you know who Prophets of Rage is, but you take Public Enemy, you take Cypress Hill, and you take Rage Against the Machine, okay? And that's who this is comprised of, this group. Every one of these bands, when I've heard throughout life, have had a significant impact on where I was at that time in my life. First time in the 80s I heard, it was probably like 85, I heard Public Enemy. Chuck D blew me away. At that time you gotta understand, what he was saying was against the grain of everything going on at that time. So it was like radical, Then when I first heard Cypress Hill, it blew me away, how I could just kill a man. It was phenomenal. And then when I first heard Rage Against the Machine, I went to see White Zombie on the Les Exorcisto tour, that first tour they did off that album. And I didn't even know who Rage Against the Machine was. Nobody did. And they opened up. They were the first act on that tour package. They blew me away. I immediately had to go buy the tape. This album is horrible. Which, is mind-boggling. And I don't know if it's age, if this album was just about money. I don't know, but it's basically some tired, replayed Rage Against the Machine music, and these dudes are rapping on it. And I don't know. It was just bad. I mean, in theory, this should have been awesome, but I don't know what happened. And, if you're a fan of this, I'm sorry, but this sucks. And I really question your taste in music if you enjoy this album. I don't have any favorite song on this album. This was that bad. So there you go. Alright, next up is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Myrkur is what we're going to call it. The album is Merit. This is like Norwegian or something, so sorry if I screwed that up. This is on Relapse Records. Another album that is black metal that goes outside the grain of what is traditional black metal. And, for those that don't know, second wave black metal is considered what the true black metal is. Originators of that scene were Mayhem, Dark Throne, Emperor, Burzum, bands like that. So if you've heard that, then you know what I mean. You know that sound. I mean, granted, they all have their different aspects of that, but they all traditional. There's a traditional blast beats, screaming, lo-fi production, sounds very cold and evil. That's what it is. This goes outside of that, all right? This is way progressive, experimental. This is a one-person band. It's a female, and I knew her name, but I forgot it, and I can't think of it right now, so sorry about that. And I did, before I listened to this album, there are lots of haters on this album, but these are all people that are fans of true cult black metal, right? These are all these Dark Throne fans from 1994 that stayed in 1994. If that's you, fuck you. But okay, this it's a mixture of black metal. They take Nordic folk music and pop rock and blend it all together. This chick, she sings beautifully, and it's a mixture of, if you know Tori Amos vocal styles, mixed with, at times, because she does different vocals throughout, kind of like Shirley Manson from Garbage, and also Amy Lee of Evanescence. This is very gothic sounding, like a lot of background singers, sometimes semi-symphonic, but then when she sings black metal style, it's like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things is in your face screaming. It is that wicked. And it's like you weren't expecting it. It's like it jumped around the corner. It's about to eat your face off. So it's just like really cool. It's different. And you know what's funny is this is like her third album on Relapse. And I have the other 2 albums and I never ever have even listened to them. So I got to go back and check them out. If they're anything like this, they're going to be awesome. My favorite songs on the album are Mainblot, The Serpent, and Elliscut. Some of it's in English, some of it's not. That's just how this album rolls. But, you know, if you're into trying out some different, this is real gothic, poppy, black metal. I mean, that's weird to say that, but it is, and it's great, and it works. So check it out. All right, the next one is from Claas. This is Devil's Tongue, and this is released through Lyrical Snuff Productions. I did talk to Claas. This is not an official album. This is a project / mixtape. Okay, first thing off the bat, you know, he just released this just after releasing a phenomenal hardcore hip-hop album, F Me F You. This is, you know, I'm sorry, it's not as good as that. You can tell there was a lot of love put in that album. This one, I mean, I don't know, you know, what surroundings of making it, of how it worked out, but it is good. You know, it's not bad at all, but it is not that album. Cover art is awesome, by the way. I don't have anything to say about the album other than that, you know, it's not as good as F Me F You, but it is good. But here is my issue, and I don't know if I downloaded this album off of Bandcamp. I use Bandcamp a lot for a lot of different music. I've downloaded a lot, and like I said, when I drive, sound is a big thing, because if it's bad, you will know, because, you know, some things are real low. You got to turn it way up. My normal level for music is like 30. On this one, I had to turn it up to 50, okay, to hear it. Now, I don't know if it was a problem with my download. I don't know if anybody else had this problem with the sound. Corey, do you have a problem with your copy?
No?
But,
I mean, I use my Beats headphones, so.
Oh, well, I mean, so I don't know. But, like, there's certain times, like, things are real low, but certain one thing in the song, like a certain type, like an instrument or a sound, will be really high and shrill and hurt your ears. I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with my download itself. I've downloaded tons of stuff off Bandcamp and hadn't had any problems, unless it's just low grade recording. So I don't know what's surrounding that, but I'm just being real. That was my only issue is, you know, I'll have to, like, at times turn it way up and then turn it down a bit, and then kind of, each song is kind of a different thing. But as far as the best tracks for me on this album, Bully featuring Don Orias, that is a great song. I want to say, they do a video for that or no? I remember them promoting it.
I don't think so.
I remember them promoting the shit out of it. But Horror Flick and Matumbo featuring Sick Noise D Nice. That's a fucking awesome song. So yeah, you know, if you're a fan of Claas like I am, you know, it's definitely worth checking out. All right, next up is Andrew W. Boss. The album is called Invincible, and from what I could find out, this is just an independent release. This is like, you know, rap, rock, nu metal. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like that term, but I mean, this is what it is. You know, there is I'm pretty sure they get compared a lot to Linkin Park at times. You know, whether they agree or that was an influence, I don't know. But there are definitely songs that it's like, dude, this is almost sounds like Linkin Park. In my opinion, though, this guy that sings is a better singer than Chester was, and that's just my opinion. Gave this a lot of listens, and I would say the guy whoever's rapping, I don't know anybody's name, but it's definitely better than the other guy. Because to me, the Linkin Park rapper sucked. That's just my opinion, though. So, I got to see these guys live. I think all of us did, right? Yeah. With Twisted, and it was a damn good show. And nobody was more happy than their bass player. He's everybody else is all hardcore, and he's all, hey, the whole time. And he was like, he made it like even more awesome because he was like, his grin was fucking out of control. But anyways, best songs for me, Decay, Apple Pie, and Breakdown. And Breakdown, definitely, you would think it was Linkin Park if you listen to that song. It's a great song, but yeah, it sounds like Linkin Park all the way. So, you know, if you're missing, you know, there's not a whole lot of this sound of music around. You know, there's not a whole lot that I've heard. But, you know, it takes me back, and it's good to be able to listen to stuff like this, you know, a newer age version. So if you're into that, check it out. All right, next up is Don Orias. The album title is Mirrors. This is an independent release. As far Don Orias, I've seen him live a lot. I have maybe 2 downloads from him before that. I'll be honest, it wasn't a whole lot of listening to, but I've listened to this album a lot at this point now. I mean, this is good hardcore hip hop. Where is Don Orias from? Does anybody know? Do y'all know where he's originally from?
Originally, no.
Because I swear this dude's like, way he raps, it's like he's an East Coast rapper, but I swear he's from the South, but just by talking to him. But yeah, I mean, this was like really good. And like, here's the thing, man. At points, this guy raps so fast. And, you know, I don't know the Guinness Book of World Records. I don't know who that is at this point. I know it was Twisted at some point. I don't know who's the fastest rapper anymore, but I would put him up there. Because at times, it's like a whirlwind when he's talking. I don't know what the hell he's saying. But it's pretty awesome. Album art is pretty dope, too. My favorite songs on this album were Mirrors featuring MC Damage, Nightmares featuring Starve, or is it Starve? I don't know. But it's with a Z, Starve. And then Lazarus featuring Melody Mercury, which is a dope-ass song. I didn't write the name of the song. I forgot the name of the song. But he has fucking an Insane Loc feature on this album. Ultimately, I'm going to say the song wasn't that great, but the Insane Loc feature is dope. We need more Insane Loc. Yeah, if you're into, like, you know, hardcore hip-hop, at times, you know, it can be a bit horrorcore. You know, this is definitely for you. It's really good, and I recommend it. All right, next up is Morbid Angel. If you're a death metal fan, this is, like, you know, one of the original death metal bands, you know, from the whole Florida scene. Their newest album is Kingdoms Disdained. And this is under Silver Lining Music. And you know, I didn't look more into that, but I want to say they're on a bigger label than that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. This is their 11th project. They've been doing this for a long time, and you know, they go in order. It started with A. This is the K album. You know what I mean? So you can see they've been doing it a good time. This is great death metal. You know, it does have the real old school feel to it. For those that know, that don't know, you know, this is not their original singer. He did come back on the last album, but the last album was like, so many people made fun of it and hated on it. That was what Illid Divinum Insanus, I believe was the name of it. They got Steve Tucker again. One thing I want to say though is, like, having heard Steve Tucker on the Formulas album and on the Gateways album, you know, he was just straight old school death metal, where David Vincent had a little bit different sound, and it's almost like he's trying to mimic the Dave Vincent sound, which I thought was actually pretty cool, because it's a totally different sound. It's kind of like he's trying to be that, but it still creates his own at the same time. It does have, though, at some points of the album, you know, things can get kind of monotonous, and you know, it's kind of like sounds the same. But you know, that's just, unfortunately, it happens with a lot of death metal music. For me, the best songs were Dead, but it's like D period, E period, A period, D period. I don't know what that means. They probably tell you the lyrics. Garden of Disdain and Declaring New Law. And also, the cover art is pretty dope, which, you know, most death metal albums have pretty dope cover art. So, but yeah, man, you want some, I would say, old school sounding Morbid Angel with a slight David Vincent sound to it, just a little bit. definitely worth checking it out. Next up is Aday, Rosas in a 40. This is off Funny Farm Records, which this would be Aday's first album on Funny Farm. Before that, those that know him, he's an amazing stranger. Man, what do you want me to say about this album? This is a fucking awesome album. Okay, so it's like this album wants to be a hip hop album, but it's not. I want to say it's more of old school hip hop with a slight country twist to it. I don't really want to call it hip hop. You know why? Because I really don't like hip hop. I'm going to be honest. I don't. But this is like great storytelling. And again, I've said it before, he's got this super laid back rapping style. It's reminiscent of, Slick Rick and what's the other guy that's just like Slick Rick? God, the old fucking Priority Records guy. I forgot his name now. I'm sorry. I said it the last time. But, he's a great storyteller. This is conscious hip hop. That's what this is. What he's doing on Funny Farm, I don't know. Because he is different, definitely, than miles away from anything on Funny Farm. I'm just saying. We got Tim Torman here. He's on Funny Farm too. But he is like, especially what from Drew said he wanted, he is totally, totally different. Miles away. I'm just saying. This is a great album. This is an adult album in every way. It's the way I take it, even the songs where he's talking about like alcohol addiction, it's like social commentary. And he's not talking as alcohol isn't a good thing. It's bad. And that's the way I took it, man. This is every way he talks, he's like spilling his soul. And at this point, I've listened to this album a lot. I listen to it probably every day. And I'm not even bullshitting because I'm driving at least 6 hours a day. So, I love it. And that's just what it is. I think that if this was, some pop country artist in the mainstream today and they were put out this album, they would get critical acclaim for this album. Unfortunately, Aday is not going to get critical acclaim just because he's in the underground and that's how shit rolls. And that's a sad thing to me because the more I listen to it, the more I love everything about it, the more shit I find that I love about this album. If I'm going to make one critique on this album from a live standpoint, there's no real bangers that, on a live presence that are just going to get the crowd fucking hyped. Now, there is this one song which is one of my favorites on this album. It's called Colt 45s, featuring Cody Zodiac and Assassin. Wait, I can't even read my own handwriting. Assassin the Dawn? I don't know. I'm sorry if I fucked that up. My bad. But yeah, it's got Cody Zodiac on it. They could make this song, live a fucking crunk song, but they'd have to change certain things about it. It reminds me, the song, if you know Crucial Conflict from the 90s, they had the song called Desperado. It's similar to that song. Other than that, Roses in a 40 is a great song. And then Die Alone featuring the High Moons. It's fucking awesome. Other than that, there's not anything I can say about this album. I really think you should check it out. Comes out with Valentine's Day, I think. Comes out Valentine's Day. He's having a release party for it February 24th. You want to check it out, you want to pick it up. I highly recommend this album. Alright, next up is Chompa. The opening line. Man, a lot of these albums coming out, in the DFW area, I'm so proud because these are just some phenomenal hip-hop albums coming out. This one's no different. This is on Tidal Records. Tidal, which we need to ask him about that. Just future, hopefully, but whatever. But, man, this is excellent, top-notch hip-hop. That's what this is. At the same time, though, who knew Chompa was so dark? Because this album at times is like really dark on some other shit that I had no idea. Obviously, I don't know his personal life, things like that. But this is great, right? Nothing, I don't have anything bad to say except for this. We need more first verse. Because first verse on the songs he's on, he like takes that song. He's like, you shouldn't even have a fucking feature with him because he takes that song away from you. I'm just saying. That was really good. So, for me, the best songs are Don't Take, It's Like That, featuring First Verse, where he's like, I feel like I used to know you, G. It's fucking dope, man. I keep singing that like fucking all day. And then Ground Goes Up. Those are my favorite songs. This album is coming out the end of this month, and it got moved, right?
No, it was supposed to be the 30th of January. It got moved.
So now it's like February?
They haven't given another release.
We need a fucking date. I mean, I got it. So, but it's dope. It is awesome. Like, if you see this, Chompa, remember the name. Because this is a guy, like, especially his sound, a lot of it is very modern day hip hop. You know, I know a lot of people instantly want to take that to a certain area of hip hop nowadays that's popular, and I'm not. That's not what it is. But he fits in with, and I'm going to say, you know, you can put him, now, you know, he's going to be arguing that he's just a badass lyricist as some of these. You know, I'm not going to debate this with you, but, you know, with the better lyricists that are on the radio right now, you have Kendrick Lamar, you have Schoolboy Q, I've heard some Vic Mensa, you know, things like that. They're just fucking phenomenal. He fits in with this shit. That's my opinion. If you want to debate it, listen to the whole album and then fucking argue with me. So, there you go. Alright, next up is the Black Dahlia Murder. The album is Nightbringers. This is on Metal Blade Records. You know, Black Dahlia, as far as mainstream or death metal goes, they are a mainstream band. You know, a lot of people would say, well, death metal's not mainstream. Well, you know, I mean, they chart. You know what I'm saying? They're pretty fucking big. And as far as new school death metal, they are probably the biggest band in the world in that genre. As far as new school is concerned. This is fucking excellent, super tight, top-notch, clear, fucking polished death metal. It's like every fucking album they put out, they get better and better. And they never just like... There's a couple albums in their catalog that, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan of. But ever since Nocturnal, every album is just like, they keep raising the bar. If you're a death metal fan and you do not like this band, you fucking suck. For me, the best songs are of God and Serpent / of Spectre and Snake. Nightbringers, which is the title track, and Kings of the Night World. Super dope cover art, but most of the time death metal is that way. Yeah, if you like this new school sound, you know, they come from what I'm going to call metalcore, deathcore kind of beginning in their first couple albums, and they've pretty much graduated to full-blown death metal, which is like a lot of those bands have at this point in time. Definitely check this out. This is worth your while, worth your time, if you're a fan of death metal. All right, final one of the night. This is Cannibal Corpse. The album is Red Before Black. Cannibal Corpse, I mean, there's no arguing. As far as death metal is concerned, they are the biggest death metal band in the world. They've done everything as far as, you know, the mainstream charts and all that stuff. They've been in big feature like movies and such. They've been around forever. They were obviously a part of the Florida scene. They're originally from New York, but anyways, they're on Metal Blade Records. This is old school death metal. This is like their 14th album, I believe. Roughly, I may be wrong there. But, man, you know, there's a lot of bands that, you know, when they've been doing it this long, especially in death metal, it gets repetitive. Things get, you know, just kind of the same and stale and boring. But they didn't do that. I think, though, with every album, specifically with, what's the dude's name? Corpse Grinder, as a singer, it's like each album has become a little bit more stripped down, a little bit more accessible. I mean, obviously, when he first started with, like, Vile and Galleries of Suicide, it was fucking just, right? because he was coming off of Chris Barnes, right? Understandable. You got a lot of big shoes to fill, right? But he's kind of like created his own sound, made it his own. This is a very stripped back, almost thrashy. And if you know Cannibal Corpse, like, they haven't been that way since their very first album. Their very first album was way thrash with a little bit of death, you know, compared to the second album that went over the top. But so it makes it to where, you know, someone who's not a big fan of the unaccessibleness of it all, of death metal, sometimes it's too much. They can't take all that chaos. It's stripped down, and I think a lot of people can groove with it. Comes with age, you know. You got to realize, like, I think there's two original members. They're old at this point, really old, like Suave old. You know, even the singer himself, he's been there since 1995, 96 at this point. So, you know, it's understandable. They obviously, I think, you know, with this album, they probably got a little bit more bigger audience. The new school death metal fans that don't really necessarily know the old school stuff, they hear this and they appreciate it because it kind of fits in a little bit more modern, a little bit more accessible than most. With that being said, the album art it's cool. It's not my favorite Vince Locke art, which he's done like every album cover at this point. But you know, it's good. I think they're just running out of ideas as far as that's concerned. So yeah, as far as death metal is concerned, what I've heard, granted this came out, end of last year. For last year, it's probably, for me, probably the best album. Which is saying a lot, because I'm a big fucking Dying Fetus fan. I'm a big Dark Throne fan, and they had albums last year that they were good, but this is just a little bit different. For me, Code of the Slashers, which they put a video out for, which is really cool. Check it out. It's real groovy. You can get into it. The video is awesome. Shedding My Human Skin is fucking awesome. And Corpus Delicti. It's good. Obviously, this is very brutal. If you're into misogynist, horror-filled death metal, this is for you. Alright, well, that's it. That's all I have. I mean, I wanted to do fucking like 50 reviews, but Corey said I could only do 10, but I did like 16, so I broke the rules on that one. Again, you know, this is, you know, my opinion, how I feel. If you don't agree, I mean, that's cool. You know, everybody's opinions, you know, vary, and that's just how it goes. Just my opinion. I appreciate everybody who shared their music with me. I mean, y'all don't know, like, it means a lot, you know, for the people that did. I appreciate it. We got a lot coming up, you know what I'm saying, Interview Under Fire. We got the Hodge Boys. They're going to be at the Rail Club on February the 18th, Path of Destruction Tour. You need tickets? Hit my boy Corey up, you know what I'm saying? We got tickets right here, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You want this show. Because this is Scum, Axe Murder Boys, and Lex the Hex Master. Obviously, Hodge Boys are one of the openers. Who else is opening? A lot.
Sick Noise and Mad
Nairo.
Yeah.
Nairo is there.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty dope show, man. Nairo, fucking Sick Noise, Hodge Boys. That's the obvious local, and then obviously I would assume there's a bigger package happening typically. Correct.
What do you mean?
Like with the package itself, they generally bring some other
on the road
bands
people.
with
Yeah.
them. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking them out. Hit them up. So that's it. Antonio Suave. This was Reviews Under Fire. Y'all keep it burning. It's breaking the ice.